As a Prominente, how was your routine different to the ordinary?
Well, there was very little difference, really. I mean, I think we had to be locked up in our own sort of little wing, about 8 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And apart from that, then after that, you just mixed, and in at Colditz we had sort of a mess where we made cooked our own food for that particular mess with such food as was available from the Red Cross parcels and so on. And so we had a little group of our own, I think roughly about 4 to 6 people in a mess. And so, I mean, our routine, we just went over there, and there was a big room where this mess was, and we just moved around the cabin as we wanted. The only thing we weren't allowed to do was to go take any exercise in the exercise area where people could go out and play football. We weren't allowed to do that, so in lieu of that, we were allowed to go once a week, perhaps, or perhaps a little, but on special walks. And we had in the company of a Feldwebel and 2 other gentlemen carrying Tommy guns. We set off for a few miles hike around the local landscape, and I found that marvelous. And my fellow Prominentes didn't always do it, actually. In fact, I only remember Michael actually going out with me ever. The others didn't seem to want to do it. I don't know why. You'd have thought somebody like John Elfin, who was a great countryman, would have felt the need of that. But anyway, they didn't seem to. And that was a great, for me, a great boon. But no, the ordinary routine was just, you were absolutely free to, you weren't, apart from the appels, 2 appels mostly a day, in the morning and evening. Apart from that, you were really free to do exactly as you wanted. And I spent quite a lot of the time drawing and painting.
Those appels, were the Prominente kept separate during the appels?
No, we were just lined up with everybody else. I mean, we'd simply a number, because it was all done by numbers. And I suppose probably, because I don't know whether they had us in blocks or something. It was certainly by nations, because there were a few other nationalities there.
Because prior to your arrival, it had been a much more international
Yes.
campaign.
But I think we'd with more people being shut up, especially the more British needing it, and the others went off elsewhere. But one final addition, of course, it happened in I suppose towards the end of February. We had an influx, an enormous influx, about I don't know how many, several hundred Frenchmen, French officers.
Did they stay there right until the end?
They stayed. They were still there when we left. Yes.
But you left.
We left
2 or 3 days before.
Oh yes, we left. We left 8th of April, something like that, and I think the French was still there then, and the camp wasn't liberated, I don't think, for another couple of weeks at least until after that.
When you got to Colditz, there were 1 or 2 other artists there.
Yes.
Did you work with them at all?
Not really, not at Colditz. I didn't really. I'd done quite a bit of reading, and I'd had an important link with a Canadian airman in in Italy, where he did know quite a bit about the traditional way of constructing painting and putting down paint meaningful as paint, rather than as simply representational. And so he did understand a bit about composition and to go about composing the picture. And by talking to him, I learnt an awful lot. And of course, I read quite a lot of books about it. We were lucky to get a few books in the Red Cross library. And by the time I went to Colditz, no, I think the only person I talked to about painting really was with David Stirling. David Stirling had worked with André Lhote in Paris, and I think David had his ardor rather sort of reduced, because André Lhote said if he was going to be a serious painter, he didn't think there was much future for him. So David had actually not pursued the thing, but he had worked quite seriously, and he did know really what painting was all about.
When you finally left Colditz, can you tell us about that? I believe you went up in a couple of coaches, buses.
Yeah, so it was a very dramatic end, because it happened very suddenly. And I think one morning, I think it was probably the 7th or 8th of April, the German commandant saw Willie Todd, Colonel Willie Todd, our senior British officer. We're going to be moved that night. And Willie Todd, quite rightly, said, well, this is against the Geneva Convention, because you're not meant to, you've got to have at least 24 hours warning. And that was, not that long. So he remonstrated, and the commandant said there was nothing he could do about it, that his orders, and the SS were in command of that sort of situation, and the SS were going to meet us and take us away. And there's nothing he could have done. So that was the German commandant's view. Willie Todd's view, which was all he could do was to hide us. And we considered this, but it was going to be at the risk of the other prisoners of war if we did that. And so we decided no, we just accept the situation and go off that night.